I am live, and I have decided I don't like this color. There we go. Nice and calming blue, just like the way it should be. Right, and now I need to change this as well. Guys, hello. I am early. I am early because I'm wrecked. And I am definitely coming down with something that is probably the cold. So I just thought I would come on and I would have the crack with everybody. Chippy, how's it going? We'll get an update on the water, I think, at some stage. And we'll chat about that. But yes, so I don't know how long I can last. Ed, how's it going, buddy? I don't know how long I can last. I can feel it in my throat. I'm full of painkillers. I'm gonna have a lamb sip after this, and I'm gonna go to bed. Rock and roll, baby. Zachary, how's it going, buddy? So yes, guys, that was an absolutely by far the most interesting week at Red Branch that I have ever had. It was mental. It was. I don't know what other way to put it, guys. It was mental. I know you have been following along with my pictures and stuff when I had got a couple of wee short videos up. Dieselman, how's it going? Tom, how's it going? Guys, yes. So that is it. So on this day last week, we had a little bit of rain overnight, like a ton of rain, like what we would call around here, we would call it a shitload, right? So I went down to go to work on Saturday morning, and the river had burst its banks, and Red Branch was flooded a little bit, a little bit. Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. I know it's probably like a 36-hour flight as well. So the water had come up a little bit, right? Now, I wasn't that concerned, right? My main concern was bringing kids into the forest and it being a little bit unsafe and stuff like that, and kids wandering off and doing what kids do, and somebody stepping into flowing water, right? So I cancelled classes. Sunday, it rained again on Saturday night. It was the same again Sunday. Cancelled classes on Sunday. It is what we call midterm here, so it's the middle of the school term, and it is the Halloween break, which means that there was a week off of school, just ended today, so they go back to school on Monday. And pretty much what happened is that anytime there's a midterm or anything like that, and it's not too cold, I will run a midterm camp, which is basically a 5-day bushcraft camp in my forest, where they come in the mornings, do bushcraft, and have hot chocolate and marshmallows. It's good crack. It's good fun. There's a bit of learning, a lot of fun, a lot of burning stuff and building things. All the kind of stuff that that kids should be doing. But I drove around the corner to from the village that I live in to go across the bridge. And normally where the river flows, so you turn the corner, you have two fields coming down to the river. Guys, those two fields were completely full of water, and what was normally maybe a 20-foot wide river was now 200-foot wide river. That's not the right, but it was completely, the water had risen so much that it actually had overflowed the road on the other side of the bridge. So I turned the corner. I drove down the road, because so I have to drive along the side of the river to get the Red Branch. And guys, as you know from various videos and stuff, my road is at the river. That's it. So there is like maybe 3 foot between me and the river. When I got the Red Branch, guys, I've called it off before, and the water has covered the track a little bit. Guys, the water was about 15 foot up. So I would have had to drive through an extra 15 foot in distance of water to get to where the water normally was. Benjamin, how's it going? Pat, what's the crack? So I was sort of like, holy crap, this is something extraordinary. So luckily enough, my auntie lives next door. So what I can do is I can always walk, instead of going this way along the river, I can go up a little bit and walk in through hers. So I walked in through hers, guys, and I got into the forest. and the forest was full of water. And I mean, like, maybe 20 foot from where the water normally has at its most flooded that I have ever seen in my life. The water was 20 foot further into the forest, right? Go and from the edge of the forest, it's a gradual uphill to where the cabin is. And now the cabin didn't get flooded. It got to within 10 foot of the cabin. So I was standing there. I walked around, went over into the circle, and the water was just starting to come into the circle, right? And the circle is where I have the parachute, the fire pit, and all the benches and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, right, this is mental, right? Okay, get on the phone, right? Okay, Tuesday. Sorry, this was Tuesday. We had gone ahead on the Monday. Apologies. So onto the Facebook page, guys. This is not safe. Today's cancelled. So I basically started looking around, right? You saw the video with the petrol can. The petrol can was the first thing I saw, and I went, "Oh Jesus! If I lose that petrol can, right? First of all, it's full of petrol, and it is worth millions of dollars now at this stage." So I tried to go over by walking. I tried to walk over. There's a ladybird on my screen. Where did he go? A little ladybird. So I tried to walk over to get it across logs, guys, and very quickly I realized, no, this wasn't going to work. And I stepped into the water, and I literally went nearly up to my waist in water. And I was like, this is nuts, man. This is nuts. So I waded out, I got it, I went back, and then I spent the next 3 hours pulling stuff out of the water and moving it up. My lawnmower, guys, all that was I know, Diesel Man. All that was sticking above the water of my lawnmower was the top handle. Right. So that is how much water had come up. And the lawnmower was not down in the flood area. The lawnmower was up in the forest a bit. So guys, I just pulled it out of the water. I actually got it last. I had all my storage sheds and everything are down along that side of the river, and everything was pushing out. And so I was there, and in the time it took me to get that organized, guys, Tony and Teddy, how's it going? I just pulled the lawnmower up and I just left it sitting up on the top of the hill. I didn't start it. I didn't do anything like that. Guys, by the time I had finished doing some of that stuff, what actually had happened was that the water had completely flooded the circle. Marlon, how's it going, buddy? So much so that all my big logs that the kids sit on were starting to float away. So I had to grab them and lift them and put them up on the high ground as well. So basically, all I was wearing was a pair of boots, a pair of normal trousers, and this actual smock here, fleece line smock. So I got all that stuff out of the way, and I said, "Geez, I better go up the road. I better go home." I know, Chippy, they're going to tax us for this. There's going to be more. So I was walking out, and I says, "I better call to my auntie and make sure that they're all right, my auntie and uncle." So what had happened then was that their driveway was actually underwater, and they had got the car stuck. So I had to go and tow their car out of the water, but I was already soaking, so it didn't matter. So I had to wade into the water and hook the car on and pull the car out and bring it to Red Branch. And in the meantime, guys, it was all kicking off all over the place. Like, it wasn't just me. So my friend texted me and said that his mother was staying with her sister up the road, and he couldn't get through to them. And they live as close to the river as Red Branch. So I went up the road there to see what was going on, see if I could get in contact with her. And guys, the whole road, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. How's it going? When I went up the road, the whole road was a river rushing down, right? And around their house, right? And it was just like the son was there filling sandbags. And so I started helping filling sandbags and stuff. We ended up doing that for about an hour, maybe a bit less. And then I had to go back. It was just houses getting flooded. It was just it was just nuts. It was just mental, right? And look at it, like there was nobody injured. There was nothing like that happened, guys. But it was just so something that has never happened here before, ever, ever, ever. And we are a village, you know, we are out in the country. Guys, people I know have businesses in the town and stuff, and they got destroyed. They got absolutely destroyed. And I don't understand. I really don't. I don't understand how it could happen. Like it didn't feel like there was that much rain, you know. Now I was happy enough working in and out of water and stuff like that, and you know I've worked and walked in rivers and you know done rescues in rivers and stuff like that for a long time, and a lot of kayaking and canoeing, and you know I was used to it. I didn't mind. So but it is so dangerous. Like it is so dangerous. So quickly you can get swept off your feet, even in 6 inches to 12 inches of water, guys. It's dodgy, boy, dodgy stuff. You know, just cars just flying through water, and it's like, you know, you just see them chug 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 and steam. You're like, right, well that didn't go according to plan, did it? So yeah, it was crazy. So Wednesday, I went back down to, I went home, took all my clothes off. I literally took my clothes off and hosed them down outside because there was so much silt in them. This hill track top, it took days to dry out. It was just so wet. It was so wet, and it's cotton. It's Ventile cotton. And the next day, I went down to see if it was okay, guys, and it was pretty much still the same. You know, the toilet was underwater, everything, you know. So I left it for a couple of hours and I went back. Now, I don't know if you saw the video with Bruno. Well, actually, what I had done is I went down and all my kayaking gear and canoeing gear is down at Red Branch anyway. So I went down and I grabbed all that stuff, guys, and I just put it on. I put on my big high level salopettes. Put on my kayak and a kag, we call it here, and I put my wellies on and I just waded into the water, boy, and I just spent hours pulling stuff out to try and get it back to normal for the next day, to hopefully give these kids the rest of the week's camp. Do you know what I mean? So today the river is still not back at normal levels. It's still not there. It's just crazy. And guys, it wasn't until yeah, yeah, that's what happens, isn't it? It's me talking about all them bloody dam removal videos the last time. That's what happened. So, guys, and it wasn't until the river went down on Thursday morning. It went down enough that I could actually walk up the road that I realized that my gravel is now in the river. Yeah, exactly. And that was it. So I dug that ditch, and literally 2 days later, that's what happened. Okay. And I still have a pond. The pond is still there. The pond is there, but and everything else is soaking wet. The saving grace was actually all the brush that I had piled up on the far side of Red Branch, on my anti side of Red Branch, because it caught everything that floated away. I had a load of wood stacked out beside the pond area that I just was now. It was Lalandi. It's not wood that I was ever going to burn, but I had left it there as like a feature and as like a little wildlife thing, so that mice could get in under it and stuff like that. And it's all down in my uncle's garden, or in my uncle's field, which is about a mile away. So no, it wasn't a distraction from the rugby. So that was it. That was my really eventful week. I have spent most of the week. It rained on me on Monday. I was up the up the Magoolies in water on Tuesday, up the Magoolies on Wednesday. Yesterday was a nice day. Today was a nice day, but it was cold. So I think in all that jazz, I have picked up a little bit of a cold somewhere. I can feel it in my head. So that's it. That was my eventful week in 15 minutes. What have you guys been up to? Oh my, not a lot of chainsawing this week, as you might imagine. But what was I going to say? The road is the worst thing. It's not a bad thing, I suppose. I could be here lamenting the loss of something important, but sort of looking at the road going, 6 months. I got 6 months out of this road and it's gone. You know, it's like, so it's like, start again. So I would have needed about £1,000 to finish it, to get it right into Red Branch. I'm looking at going back and having to spend £2,000 on it now, but I didn't have the time, Pat. I didn't have the time. I just had to go and get these things done. Didn't have time to be making videos. Everything had to be walked in. You know, it's not, you know, it's I couldn't just drive in with all my camera equipment and stuff like that. And here's the thing, guys. I actually paddled the kayak through the forest, right? And I went out to the green area beside where the pond is, guys. And that was actually a flow of water just flowing. The path is 136 meters. No, it's not. It's about 160 meters with the bit that I haven't done. So stone is 190 pound a load. So say it's 200 pound a load. You need at least 5 loads now, and you're talking about 1,400 to 1,500 euros. Yes, lorry full is 190. Well, it was 180 when I got 4, so a 20-ton. Is it a 20-ton lorry? Yes, standard big tipping lorry. So probably about 1,500, because the last time I forgot, I had 2 rolls of that geotex membrane, and they're 300 quid a roll. So yes, and that was floating away. And luckily enough, I managed to just grab that before it was gone, the leftover roll. So what actually happened? No, it's not flooded anymore, Aaron. Camp is going ahead tomorrow. I had camp today and yesterday. So what actually happened, guys, was I paddled out past where, just alongside where the veg garden is. The veg garden was underground. Bud, how's it going? You're very welcome. No, that's what it costs. It costs. It doesn't matter what stone you're getting. That's how much it costs. Even if you're getting bigger grade stuff, it still costs the same price. And I think that is because of the fuel. I think is the main thing. What was I going to say? Screwdriver. I am surrounded by river, so I have river on 3 sides of me. And the river actually rose so high that it just rose and just went out like that, and never seen before. Never ever seen before. Nobody that I spoke to, even like 85-year-old men who have lived beside the river their whole life, have ever seen it flood like that before. So there's a house up past got quite badly flooded. So, but that is the joys. That is the joys of climate change, which isn't true apparently. The only thing to combat it is for me to plant thousands of oak trees on the mountain above me and hope that they will soak up some of this water that is just cascading down, because nobody can remember there being any type of flooding until about 10 years ago. The forestry cut thousands of trees off that mountain. Do you know what I mean? So that is what we got to do. See, there's culverts in it already, Chippy. This is the thing. Everything was flooded. You know, it's not that it got up and it stayed. It's just that everything flooded. So the water rose up so fast that it went over the road into the forest on either side. So the river went from being, say, 20-foot wide to being 50-foot wide. Do you know? I don't think so, Ed. Like, everything is temporary down there. The only thing I am building that is in the area that flooded is a workshop, right? But the workshop is not going to have a floor or anything like that. It's just posts, and it's just going to be it's just going to have fence panels on it. Do you know what I mean? Not fence panels. What do you call them? Lollipop panels. So as the walls, and there's going to be gaps in them as well, because and it's only going to be two-sided, you know, with a roof. So there's nothing permanent there. Does that make sense? Guys, it never got to the cabin, so it was maybe 10 foot shy of the cabin, but I don't think it ever would have got to the cabin. I don't think it would have been possible, if that makes sense. Then my toilet was underwater because the river behind us had flooded as well, so it was just like a perfect storm. And I don't know. I don't know what you could do. There is nothing. There was to stop it from happening, I would have had to build a 10-foot wall along the river, right? That's the truth. So if I had waded out further, the water would have been up to here. There was nothing I could have done. Yeah, and a screwdriver, and then all it would take would be one really good storm for all that topsoil just to be washed away anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of these things that you look. The most annoying thing was about it was that the week that I was bloody working. Do you know what I mean? The week that I had kids in the forest. Otherwise, it just would have been an inconvenience, and it would have been a little bit fun, and I could have made. Well, I did make one video anyway, so. It didn't get near it, Pat. Didn't get near it at all. No effect. No effect on the land around it. No effect on anything. So, and it's funny because I was there, and after I made the cabin, I was always thinking to myself, maybe I should have put the cabin down in the corner beside where, actually in the location of where I am building the workshop now. But the cabin would have been underwater, and it would have been destroyed because it's a solid structure, whereas everything else has holes in it, so the water could move through it. The cabin is a solid structure. Guys, some of you guys are going to get an ad. Sorry. I have made it. I just haven't edited it yet. And I had the GoPro on my head as well. So not the GoPro. What do you call these things? The DJI Osmo, which is far superior to a GoPro. Guys, but it's it's just one of these things, isn't it? There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. It just was like every day I still had to go up, and I still had to get down there, and I still had to check, and I had to go around and say, is it safe? Is this safe? If somebody needs to go to the toilet, can they use the toilet and stuff like this? Everything is so wet. This is it. There is mud everywhere, like everywhere. It doesn't. It takes all the things. It uses everything that a GoPro uses, right? But it has none of the negativities that I had with my GoPro. There's not as much handling noise. It has a front screen. It's like a better GoPro and cheaper. That's pretty much it. And it uses, so you don't, if you already have a GoPro, you can still use all the stuff that you had for the GoPro. This thing, Dieselman. This is a DJI Osmo action camera, and this is the first one. I think they're on the third one now. Oh, Chippy, the best thing I ever did in my life was get rid of a GoPro. Having a GoPro nearly put me off. Making videos. I nearly quit YouTube because of GoPro. It just was such a pain in my arse. Yeah, 4K if you want it, but with the 4K, there's no stabilization and stuff like that. And 4K is incredibly difficult to process, and it takes a lot of computer and stuff like that. So I just take it at 180 because most people are watching videos at 180 anyway. So that's what I found. Who's that? You coming up? Must be cooler. So the best thing that ever happened to me when it came to filming was I bought a Canon M50, guys. That is the best. Where is the thing on it? A Canon M50, and that is a mirrorless digital camera. And what that means, guys, is that it has mobile phone technology inside this instead of mirrors like a normal digital SLR. And it's touchscreen and it has autofocus. It is that's my main camera. That's what I use. If you're watching a video and you're thinking to yourself, Jesus, Wally's footage looks great, that's what I'm using. What? It was the GoPro Hero 5 was the one I got, and it was the first one that was waterproof without a case. And what happened was that if you were holding it, if you imagine this is one of my wee tripods. These are very handy. These are a UFO tripod. If you were holding it, right, and you moved it like this and went like this, every time you touched it with your other hand, it went. Everything was super sensitive. All the microphones are super sensitive, and basically, in order to make them waterproof, the microphones are covered in something, right? And it's the vibrations on that thing that covers the microphone. Now, you could have popped this thing off and added an external microphone, but then you don't have a waterproof camera anymore. And what is the bloody point? I got it to be a waterproof camera. Yeah, I see what you mean. Now, my brother's got a Hero, or has got a GoPro 10 or 11, I think, and he likes it, and he uses it mountain biking. So no, look, this is like Android to GoPro being Apple. Does that make sense? You know, it does all the same stuff. It does it better and it does it cheaper. It's just not as good a name as GoPro. I hope that clears it up. Yeah, I know loads of people who have batteries either overheating or the batteries are getting really cold and it's just shutting off all the time. And these were the problems that I had with my GoPro. I think by the end, my GoPro wouldn't even turn on. You charge the batteries and they would die. Charge the batteries and it would die. And I sold it. I sold it to a company that deals in secondhand camera equipment. No, it did still work. I'm thinking about something else. But anyway, what can you do? What can you do, guys? This is it. This is life. So I'm going to have to go down and I'm going to have to start. Yeah, I think that's where this started, was with the drones. Your friend has started selling cheap Chinese compact tractors, Simon, eh? Eh? Any more information? I have heard no more information on the compact tractor scene. I think that I'm probably going to ring them. I send them the email and that's it. I'll ring and as a follow-up because I am not very good at putting my thoughts down on email. What did you do, Chippy? This sounds like a good story. Did you run one over? Oh, guys. Oh. Yeah, you know when you feel like you're just coming down with something as well? Let me check. Jesus, they're on DJI Osmo Action 4 now. Wow. It looks like the earliest one you can get is the DJI Osmo 3. Well, Ross, how's it going? But you're not allowed to raise the land here. You're not allowed to raise the land here because it causes flooding downstream. You can't change the water course. I would say if you were looking, let me see. This is who I use. Hey, Diesel Man. This is a company called what are they called? MPB. MPB. Well, the thing is that what technically where Red Branch is located is a floodplain, right? This is the thing. So this is the issue we had with planning permission there when we were trying to do some things. That link's for you, Diesel Man. What that means is that you can't do anything there. That place is designated as a floodplain on a map somewhere, right? This is what happened. We applied for planning permission to build an Iron Age roundhouse in my forest. The council wanted to build it as this something, right? Off they went looking for planning permission. Somebody from the water board came out and I met him there and he says, you can't do this. You can't have this in there because technically it's a floodplain. And I went, what do you mean this has never flooded? Now this is 5 years ago. I said, this has never flooded. He says, you apply for planning for something, right? It goes to the planning officers who send it to us. We put that location into a computer and that superimposes that on a map somewhere, right? And that is coming up that it's your entranceway in is in a floodplain, right? And I was like, and it's never flooded. He says that map says that it's a floodplain, so that's it. It's black and white. If it's in that floodplain, you cannot build a house. Computer says no, Tom. Exactly, right? Well, it was in the house. If it says it's in the floodplain, you cannot build there. And I was like, it never floods. He says the only place, Klaus, how's it going? The only place that is outside of that flood zone is actually where I built the cabin, the top of that little hill. He says everywhere else is in. He says the bottom of your auntie's garden is outside as well. So if you want this to go ahead, you have to put your driveway through the bottom of your auntie's garden, right? And I went, right, well, I don't think that's going to happen. So we didn't go ahead, right? I bet you that man is sitting in an office somewhere laughing his ass off on Tuesday going, I told that boy it was a floodplain and he didn't believe me. It's a bloody floodplain. Oh. Right. Riparian rights. You install ponds here to take the amount of cubic water you're removing. But I already have a pond. Oh, okay, I get you. I get you. Yeah, and this is the problem, isn't it? Is that they just build these bloody things in floodplains anyway, you know. I really think that they should be pushing for planting more trees. You know, to put in all these stupid spruce trees that aren't sucking up a lot of water, obviously. It's oaks you need to be planting because they consume the most amount of water. So that is my cunning plan to prevent it happening again. I'm going to get as many oak trees as I can, and I'm going to ninja plant them. I'm going to ninja plant them somewhere up the mountain along the water course. Nice, bud. Nice. Exactly, Simon. Exactly. So I need to set myself up as a major developer. Happy, is that you? Is that you? Somebody's left the door open downstairs. Guys, I am going to leave that there. I am struggling with this evening. I am definitely coming down with the cold, and I have all weekend in the forest this weekend again. So I love your profile picture. Exactly. How did I know it was you, Pappy? How did I know it was you? Guys, look, if I get any more updates on the compact tractor, I'll let you know. I'll put it in the community section. Next week is going to be a lot of shoveling and raking. I'm going to have to try and get as much of reclaim as much of that stone as I can and rake it back in and just see. I can't drive into it at the minute. It's just like it looks like the beach. Do you know what I mean? Except that the piles are like 2 foot deep. Compact hovercraft, that would be the way forward. Guys, thank you very much. Everybody hit that thumbs up. Stay frosty.